I'm Matt Hogans. I'm the owner of Hogans Agency Incorporated in Chestertown, Maryland. We have offices in Rock Hall and Kent Island. The business was started by my father about 55 years ago. He retired about 16 or 17 years ago. He went into the insurance business working for my grandfather, and I think worked up in Pennsylvania. Met my mother down here. My mother's parents had a farm down here, a summer place. So he met her. My grandfather, my mother's father, worked for an insurance company up in Connecticut, a big carrier. I can't remember the name. You know, my dad would know, but so he got into learned the insurance business that way by working for an insurance carrier. Lived in Philadelphia. My brother Vaughn was born there, then moved back down here and started Hogans Agency. And it's been rolling along for 55 years. Chestertown has its own charm, but a lot of these small towns have their own charm. If you talk to somebody else who's from another small town up the East Coast, it's different, but Chestertown has its own character. Yeah. And characters. You know what I mean?
So what was it like growing up? Did you have a sense of it?
It was great. And I grew up in Rock Hall on a farm outside of Rock Hall, right on Tavern Creek on the water. Yeah. We had boats, swimming pool, plenty of friends. We lived out about 10 miles outside of town. You know, if you had to see a friend, you had to drive 10 miles to see a friend. But I mean, there was plenty to do. I had 6 brothers and sisters, 6 other brothers and sisters, 7 of us all together. Okay. So it was sort of a, you know, we already had friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Our brothers and
self-contained.
Self-contained.
And where are you in the pecking order?
Second to last.
Second to last. Mm-hmm. And has everybody basically stayed in the area? Or?
No. My brother Bill is, well, I'll start at the top. My brother Vaughn works for the company. My brother Frank works for the company. My sister Donna is a professor at Alverno College in Wisconsin. My brother Dennis runs my father's liquor store and works for the company as a realtor. And my brother Bill is a microbiologist, parasitologist in Canada. And then my sister Meg is a lawyer in Shanghai, China. They're all over the place.
Amazing.
They're everywhere. Before I purchased the majority of the company, I ran the insurance division for the company. So, and I really enjoy that. I love selling insurance, and I love helping people. And I became a realtor about the same time I became an insurance agent, and dabbled in it for the first couple of years residentially, and then found that commercial real estate was just a lot more fun for me. So now I try to specialize in selling commercial real estate and dabble as a developer. You know, I got to be honest with you, I don't want, I'm selfish, I don't want Chestertown looking like Middletown, Delaware.
How do you prevent that, though? I mean, that's the other...
Planning. Planning.
So do you feel like the planning process helps the system?
You've got to have it, but, you know, no can't be the answer. Maybe and let's take a look at it have to be the answer. And I think that's the answer. In some ways, that is the answer in Chestertown. I think these guys do the Planning Commission and the town, I think they do a good job trying to keep all that stuff together. And it's a hard job. I mean, I don't think you or I would want that job. Would you want that job?
I don't think so.
You know what I mean? Being in Bill Ingersoll's shoes, or being in one of the people on the Planning Commission. I mean, they have hard jobs. Yeah. I mean, you know, they're looking at, and here's another thing, just look at Middletown. Once you start building that barracks, or that apartment house that looks like a barracks, that's not coming down anytime soon. You know, it's there. Yeah. So, I mean, you know, where do you know, I'm glad I wasn't that guy. That's all I got to say, the guy in Middletown. I think some mistakes were made there, and I can say that because I don't live in Middletown. Maybe they'll come down and get me, but I don't care. The commercial and the retail aspects of that town, they are what they are. I mean, it's right on, you know, a heavily traveled road. You know, that all makes sense. You know, what are the traffic counts? So we've got great traffic counts coming up. You know, people heading up into Delaware and up to 95 and all that. So let's go ahead and build, you know, Kohl's or a Lowe's or something like that. That's great. But I mean, you know, what's behind all that stuff? I mean, drive up through Middletown, you know, where Bob Evans is, and look left. where all those apartments are.
Yeah, that's just unbelievable.
It is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And maybe that guy's still there, maybe he's not, Guy or people or whoever the planners were that did that. And then now I was driving through there the other day, and they're trying to redo downtown.
Yeah.
I would have. Yeah. How about downtown and then worry about everything else? Yeah. You know what I mean? If Target came to me and said, "We really want to put a store here in Chestertown," I think it'd be a great place to, you know, to have a store, because Chestertown is growing or not growing or whatever the, you know, whatever they deem to be, you know, a deciding factor for them to come here. Then I would, actually, to be honest with you, I would go to the town and find out if it were in Chestertown, or county to the county people, and find out what they wanted. What do you want? Do you want a Target here? You know, is it something that the town wants? Is it something that the Planning Commission wants? Right. You know what I mean? Is it something that we really want to get into? Yeah. And if that's the case, then okay, well, how big do you want it? Yeah. You know, 175,000 square feet in Chestertown?
Just wouldn't work.
Nah. But well, Target wouldn't put 175,000. They're just the critical mass in here.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the critical mass, because that's interesting. Because do you feel like this is a viable market? Wow. I mean, in comparison, if you're sitting with some of these decision makers for these companies, and they're looking Smyrna, Chestertown.
Oh yeah.
You know what?
Chestertown's tough. There's a silver lining around Chestertown. And a lot of developers and a lot of retailers see it, and a lot of them don't see it. A lot of them have come here and had a hard time trying to do what they've wanted to do. But let me make a point on that. They've gone other places and tried to do things that they've wanted to do, and also have not been able to do them. So this isn't the only place on the universe that's, you know, in the universe or on the planet that, you know, you have to go through the series of, you know, meetings and, you know, and approvals to get to the end of your goal. So I mean, but what makes it attractive to them? What makes Chestertown attractive? Chestertown has its own charm. You know, 213 also is a nice, you know, a lot of traffic goes up and down 213. A lot of people don't realize how much traffic does go up and down 213. But I think there needs to be some kind of organic growth. You know, there has to be some kind of a group of people need to get together, or a developer needs to come into town and just, well, Roy's doing it. You know, Roy's, you know,
Roy Kirby.
Roy Kirby's doing the right thing. Yeah. He's doing the right thing. He's doing and I'm telling you, that will be first class, because Roy won't build it unless it's great. Yeah. And I think that's a wonderful thing. I think some other people need to do the same thing Roy's doing. You know what I mean? Yeah. Roy can't shoulder that whole responsibility. Yeah. I personally would like to do some more development in Chestertown. I would like to see some more services. If I can be instrumental in bringing them here, I'm going to try. You know what I mean? Because it's going to benefit me. It's going to benefit the town. It's going to benefit everybody. Yeah. Yeah. You know, that's where I'm heading. Yeah. Well, but it all has to make sense. You know, can't make just because Dave and Matt build it doesn't mean it's going to work. So it all has to make financial sense. But I think we're coming out of this recession. I really think we are. I mean, residential sales are up. I mean, it's a fact of life. I think people have a better outlook. So I think it's going to get better. I think Chestertown will come back. I think Chestertown is going to come back. We need to help them along a little bit, that's all.